inside the strange world of the sovereign citizens.
Society is a disastrous mess. What we are doing is helping to put it back together.
The authority of this court flows directly from the sovereign people.
Where innocent pharmacists are accused of absurd crimes.
We're common law sheriffs. We're just here today to give you some information and some knowledge on law.
Oh, look out! You're under arrest.
And those who hate the police call on them for help.
It's bizarre. It's frankly bizarre.
A family under siege.
Bad things are going to happen.
And where questions about cop killer Desi Freeman are answered...
We're happy to leave, Marty.
...with violence.
Marty, OK.
Good evening, I'm Michael Usher and welcome to Spotlight. They're the Australians we've come to know as sovereign citizens, even if they reject that title themselves. A growing movement that picks and chooses which laws to follow and regards the institutions most of us rely on with deep suspicion, even hostility. For some, the path begins with a genuine grievance. For others, it leads somewhere far more dangerous. Tonight, reporter Ashlee Mullany goes inside this radical tribe.
A suburban pharmacy in Perth is about to receive a visit from the Sovereign People's Assembly of Western Australia, more commonly known as SPAWA.
And it says they're still pushing the COVID-19 vaccination.
SPAWA's self-appointed common law sheriffs are Paul, Greg and Mandy.
They're obviously not aware of all the information that's come out over the last 5 years, which is the fact that it's a genocide program.
Though they have no legal authority, they'll be serving homemade documents astonishingly accusing the chemist of committing crimes against humanity. What's your message to the pharmacists today?
The message to the pharmacists is that they are 100% accountable for any damage that is caused to an individual who goes in without being fully informed about the COVID vaccine. All right, let's go, guys.
Pushing back against the system, sovereign citizen style.
Where is it there, up the back?
Up the back, yeah.
Who's the...
So we just want to speak to the head pharmacist if we can, please. We've just got some documents. Is that you? Yeah. Hi, my name's Mandy, it's Paul and Greg. We're common law sheriffs. We're just here today to give you some information and some knowledge on law.
Specifically targeting the COVID vaccine that you're still administering.
It's only the pharmacist's second day on the job here. She seems slightly shocked and somewhat confused. For the sheriffs, no disguising, they think this was a successful operation.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's my first day.
Poor thing.
Sorry about that. We just ruined your first day.
How did you feel serving those documents?
Oh, fine. We don't have a problem with it at all. Yeah. We're in superior jurisdiction. We've got the law. We are the guardians of the law, and it's our duty to share that knowledge.
There's obviously people out there who disagree with you as well, though.
Yes, there is. But the answer they give us when we inform them of the fact is, I'm just doing my job.
Do you think that that pharmacist might say the same thing? I'm just doing my job?
I'm just doing my job, but that didn't save him at the Nuremberg trials.
It's taken months to convince the Sovereign People's Assembly to let us film with them. Distrust of the mainstream media is almost absolute. But I'm on my way to a SPAWA rally on a baking Perth day.
Hi, I'm Greg from SPAWA. I'd like to welcome everyone here today. It's a hot day, but we're here for the meeting of the minds. I thought we would have more police presence, but I can't see, unless they're in very, very, very good camouflage, I can't see any here yet.
They appear like any crowd you'd find at a community barbecue. And Jeff, Donna and Greg are adamant they're just normal, everyday Aussies.
So why have police formed this view that you are anti-authority or anti-police?
Where has that come from?
Bit like conspiracy theorists back in the day, you know. If you get labelled a conspiracy theorist, that stops you from telling the truth or getting believed, you know. That's an old CIA thing. Well, this is the new one here. Sovereign citizen is the new label.
And they also labelled Desi Freeman a sovereign citizen. There's no such thing.
They're using the quantum field and the psyops to harness our minds to create the world where they can do what they please.
All here share the unshakable belief that the society we live in is built on lies. And the biggest lie of all, they claim, is COVID.
Let's say COVID was enough bloodshed. COVID was enough damage. We have to stop the attack. We have to take back control and work out how we're going to rebuild our nation from where it should have been to where it is.
So COVID is actually an acronym which most people would not know, and that would be consent of voluntary identification daily using AI. So the A is 1 and the I is 9, COVID-19.
If SPAWA has a spiritual leader, it's Leith Masters, a professional astrologer.
Hi, folks. So where is Australia in the Commonwealth of Australia? It's on 3 islands, Norfolk, Cocos and Keeling Island. It's actually not even on these lands of Terra Australis, but its instruments are on these lands. It's instruments like driver's licenses, mortgages, insurance, everything that runs your day-to-day life.
How do you keep society together? How do you stop a society from falling apart if you don't have a system of licenses or a way of...
Society has fallen apart. What we are doing is helping to put it back together. Society is a foul and disgusting place. It's full of child trafficking, it's full of land theft, it's a horror story.
It was early 2022 when sovereign citizens coalesced around the convoy to Canberra. They were galvanised by rage over the pandemic and the police-enforced restrictions imposed in many states, claiming the Australian government, its laws and the entire legal system were all illegitimate.
I think 2 things collided from COVID. The first was authority being involved in everyday community lives, which is very unusual.
WA Police Commissioner Cole Blanche understands the shock the pandemic and role of the police caused ordinary Australians.
Most times people come across police maybe on the road or a booze bus or if you're a victim of crime, but it's few and far between. When COVID came to Australia, obviously the engagement of police was far closer, and I think, particularly in some jurisdictions, they felt it went too far. When you combine that with the expansion of online communities, what was once a normal community conversation now becomes a conversation with people around the world, and perhaps in communities around the world that have very different belief systems, radicalised extremist views, and you can find those communities very, very quickly.
If COVID was the spark that ignited the sovereign citizen movement here, for Leith Masters and SPAWA, this was only the beginning.
We can say that humanity is actually a human herd.
So where is the legitimate authority in society?
With the people, always with the people.
They believe society can function through individual responsibility and the simple principles of not harming others and sharing everything. The closest analogy is a hippie commune. Do we abolish the government? Do we overthrow the government? What's your solution?
Not abolish it and not overthrow it, but repurpose it.
How do you plan to do that?
Well, we are doing that. It's actually not hard to create remedy to the mess that we live in. We live in a horrific mess.
Their answer to this so-called mess that we're living in, what they call common law. They want the people to obey whatever state and federal laws they choose to accept. In other words, they decide which laws apply to them and which ones don't. What laws are illegitimate in your mind? If you were stopped by police on the road, should you provide them your name?
Well, the reason why you would provide your name is because they have in their system of legal legislation that says if you don't provide your name, you will be arrested. And if you choose not to provide your name, then chances are you'll be reefed out of your car and thrown to the ground and handcuffed. It's very violent.
So why not just give your name to police?
Well, because under law, you don't have to.
Mandy Sonino is an ex-security guard, now SPAWA's official record keeper. Greg Bell, a pensioner whose cafe business went bust during COVID. And Alan Wallace, a carpenter by trade who's now proudly living outside the system. Should you pay taxes?
Well, the answer's in your constitution.
Do you believe you should pay taxes?
It's a question, yes. Well, it depends what taxes are.
Tax is voluntary in Australia.
Yes.
But they won't tell you that.
No.
Will faithfully perform my duties as an officer of this common law court.
For the record, tax isn't voluntary, and motorists do have to provide their identity if police have a legal reason to ask for it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alan.
In place of all the laws they reject, SPAWA administers its own brand of justice in the form of what it calls common law courts.
These common law courts are not games. They are real. They are the highest court because they are a court of the people.
They record their hearings.
Defendants in this case is, and I will list them, former Prime Minister Scott Morrison.
And post the verdicts on their website.
On the charge of genocide, how do you, the jury, find the defendants?
Guilty on the charges of genocide.
What are some of the harshest penalties that you've doled out?
The harshest ones would have been probably through the first case that we did run, which was quite controversial.
Alan presided over SPAWA's first case, brought against former Prime Minister Scott Morrison and some 30 members of his cabinet and top bureaucrats.
It was about the COVID damage and damage by the vaccines. It was early days, but the evidence was very damning. The jail, I can't remember offhand the jail sentences.
I think it was a total of 120 years per defendant total. There was 4 or 5 claims. They were slavery, fraud was the first one.
Human trafficking.
Human trafficking, yeah.
I mean, you're talking, I'm not really sure what I should say, but we're talking murder. It's serious.
Who committed murder?
The people that carried out.
It's slow murder for.
The people that perpetrated the crime on the people.
Which crime?
The crime of forced injections.
So you see a world where one day SPAWA will be able to build a prison facility where you will imprison these people?
People will laugh at these verdicts and say, oh, well, how are you going to, deal with these people? Well, the record stands, the judgments are there, and if anything changes in the future and we are actually recognised, then we would hope that our law enforcement would take up those claims.
It was a plan. That's why it's often called the plandemic. It was a genocide program.
Can you see how this might be a bit offensive to anyone who lost a family member during
Absolutely.
COVID?
And it's 100%. Very sad, yeah.
But the truth has to come out.
Next, when words turn to violence.
We have a major police operation going on here at the moment.
Police and the truth under fire.
Do you believe that he killed 2 police officers?
I cannot believe it.
By a growing band of sympathisers.
Bit of lead, Marty.
All right.
Marty.
Get off.
Okay. December 12, 2022, Williambilla, Queensland. Police don't know it yet, but they're walking into a trap.
They came to kill us. And we killed them.
Sovereign citizens Stacey, Nathaniel and Gareth Train
Matt's not moving, Rachel's not moving now.
set an ambush for police. Killing 2 officers and a neighbour who tries to help. The Trains are also killed in a final gun battle with police.
This is the suspect, Desi Freeman.
Tragically, 2 of our fine Victoria police officers lost their lives in the line of duty.
3 years later, self-proclaimed sovereign citizen Desi Freeman executes 2 police officers at a remote property in Victoria's high country.
We have a major police operation going on here at the moment.
During his 216 days on the run, he becomes a symbol for those who share his beliefs.
We also need justice for Desi.
And excuse his crimes. Until just under 5 weeks ago, in this squalid bush encampment, Desi Freeman was found and killed by police.
There was an opportunity for him to surrender peacefully, which he did not.
Desi might be dead. Is his ideology dead? Is the danger gone?
The fact that Desi's dead is a good thing. His ideology and his outlook on life, it's never going to die. They're always out there.
And so the risk remains.
It certainly does. There's lots of Desis out there.
I've come to the high country with Alex Christich, a former detective with the Victorian Police Serious Crime Squad, and a close mate of one of the officers Desi Freeman killed, Neil Tomo Thompson. How would you describe Desi Freeman in 3 words?
A blood-sucking parasite.
Alex says Desi Freeman was not alone in his beliefs. Does that shock you, that he'd find support in this town?
Well, I'm not easily shocked, but I can assure you that there are several people out there that are happy to support Freeman and people like him. This is probably the place we're talking about.
I'm just going to have a read of that sign. We're at the front gate of what was Desi Freeman's home, the property where this murderous attack occurred. We're being watched and warned.
It seems that somebody set the alarm off.
Don't know what that alarm means.
I don't know. Perhaps you can ask them to come to the gate.
Yeah. I mean, if the owner here wants to speak to us, then we'd be happy to, but I don't know that they're interested at the moment.
No.
Speaking to locals in Paulpunka, there's a genuine concern about the level of support for Freeman and his actions. Then we're alerted to this online video.
You getting all this?
Yeah, of course.
He's the town's mechanic, Marty Robinson.
What is the general attitude towards police around this area?
We hate them. There needs to be more of them shot.
We wanted to give Marty a chance to explain why he has such strong feelings about the police. Hi there. Hi, Marty.
Country, so they can get you the real deal.
Hi, how's it going? We're here from Channel 7 Spotlight. You don't want to say anything?
The town.
We're happy to leave. We're happy to leave, Marty.
Marty. Okay. We saw your comments online. I thought you were prepared to talk. I saw it online, Marty, and we... Okay, it seems Marty isn't interested in speaking with us, despite his very public statements on YouTube.
Even in Perth, at the rally held by SPAWA, the Sovereign People's Assembly of Western Australia, I hear quiet denials of Desi Freeman's guilt.
Do we believe everything we see on the TV?
Well, I don't watch TV anyway, so...
Do you believe that he killed 2 police officers that day at his property?
No.
I cannot believe it, because there's been no court case, there's no... I don't know.
We don't know Desmond Freeman. Who knows? He's an individual that has probably seen what we've seen and taken a part to do what he wants to do. How the police acted, we weren't there. We don't know. We don't know if it's real. We don't know. We haven't seen any evidence of it. There's no trial, no case. We can't find anything. So it's an assumption whatever happened.
SPAWA's Leith Masters claims the dark story of Desi Freeman was really a cynical fabrication by the authorities. A psychological operation, or what they call a PSYOP.
We have nothing to do with the Desi Freeman PSYOP.
Do you believe the Desi Freeman shooting is a PSYOP?
At this stage, it's a PSYOP. We have no evidence of anything, so how could we say that it's anything except a PSYOP?
Leith, there's 2 dead police officers.
Do we know that they're dead? We don't have any evidence of anything.
Sentiments like that
Suspect's still on foot.
have put SPAWA and other sovereign citizen groups on the radar of WA Police.
If, say, a person of interest is a sovereign citizen, we know about them. We know about the risk that they pose. We know about their associates. We know about the history of offending that they've potentially caused in WA.
This state-of-the-art operations room not only analyses intelligence on high-risk individuals, but monitors officers in the field with live video feeds from their body cams.
To ensure we know as much as we can about people who pose a risk to our community.
You might have to go south and then pop back up and head north from Welshpool Road.
It's part of a Get Tough strategy driven by WA Police Commissioner Cole Blanche.
Look, sovereign citizens, if we're going to use that terminology, people who believe in pseudo-law, they often project who they are very, very quickly. And it can be simple things like, I'm travelling, I'm not driving a car.
We're not driving, we're travelling.
I don't need a driver's licence. You don't have the authority for me to have a driver's licence.
Just been asked for identification.
They might make their own licence plates on their car and say, well, I don't have to register my vehicle in the state.
So when did you take those off? Yesterday. I'm not part of the state.
They're very obvious things. We will have envelopes delivered here with hundreds and hundreds of pages as to why the law has no authority over them as individuals because they believe a different truth to them.
We've seen this particular group now serve a warrant on a pharmacist, accusing that person of genocide and war crimes for distributing the COVID vaccine. Does that come as a concern to you?
It's not a proper argument. It's not a proper opposition to ideas or anything else. It's fundamentally rejecting what we've all accepted is the way we should live together as a community. And it extends out to pharmacists. These are educated, good people trying to help our community, just like most of us in our community. To target individuals like that saying they're committing genocide, it's outrageous and it's dangerous.
Late last year, Commissioner Blanche took the extraordinary step of revoking the firearms licences of around 70 members or associates of SPAWA.
You're not on the net or nothing?
Weapons held by SPAWA sheriffs Greg, Donna and Jeff were among the first seized by police.
I have a right to.
2024.
I have a right.
No, I've got a right to refuse.
I have a right.
Just let's get through this process, okay? You can record, that's fine. Just let us get through this process. I'm going to ask you some questions, okay?
Your conduct, behaviour, views, opinions and attitudes which have demonstrated a disregard for the laws pursuant to 150A and C of the Act, including your association to the activity alongside the Sovereign People's Assembly of Western Australia.
I kept saying, why? Why? And then the officer in charge, he said, everyone turn your cameras off. I turned mine off, my wife turned hers off. He called me over, he said, the reason why we're taking your guns is because you're a common law sheriff. As plain as that.
If I receive correspondence from a minority in our community that send me pieces of paper that says we fundamentally reject your authority and the laws of Western Australia, I cannot, as the Commissioner, make an obvious decision that they're a fit and proper person if they fundamentally reject the very premise that I'm making that fit and proper person test, which is in the law.
Why are you taking this issue so seriously?
I think it's a simple answer. And the simple answer is if they don't believe in your authority to act as police under the laws, they see you as a threat that they have authority to take action against because the overt action of police is seen as unlawful. So they can use force against us. And we've heard that in the Wee and Billa matter in particular. That minority who believe that we don't have the authority will harm police thinking they're doing something lawful. And that creates an extreme risk that I'm not prepared to take.
What they have done to remove everyone's guns in a second gun sweep from, which is myself as an astrologist, an exact Saturn return from the last time they did it in Tasmania, which is to make us a disarmed nation.
What has guns got to do with astrology?
Everything's moving in cycles. So actually a Saturn cycle imprints authority. So you would know kings and queens have forever used astrology. Do you know that?
You're telling the story.
Kings and queens have forever used astrology.
I think there'll be people who sit here and agree with you. There'll be other people who sit here and think, my God, this is batshit crazy.
It's the people rising up against an overreach of government.
Coming up.
Are you living in fear?
No, I live in readiness.
One man's war against sovereign citizens.
There's only one winner in that situation, and they try and get my children. Bad things are going to happen.
That's fine. That's fine. You went down for me, thank you.
That's as far as it's going down. What's your name?
My name's Senior Constable Wildlife Patrol.
It was one of the ugliest scenes from the COVID lockdowns.
I need your most senior on duty.
The woman behind the wheel refusing an officer's request for her driver's licence is Helen Delaney.
I'm not getting out. You're under arrest. Yeah, the vehicle, you're under arrest.
So this was the day that the world was introduced to Helen Delaney, really, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, in a big way.
Scott Murrin was Helen Delaney's partner for 10 years.
Have your children seen this video?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much everybody in our community's seen that video. I think the last I looked, and that was ages ago, it was 12 million hits. You know, you can look at this and go, it's a humorous video, if that's not, you know, the mother of your kids that's in it.
While Delaney rejects the label sovereign citizen, her actions fall firmly into that category. She's a serial pest for New South Wales Police and local authorities.
You will be possibly privately and civilly liable. Do you understand that? I have a private link schedule and you're trafficking me now.
And you'll understand that you're under arrest?
You're personating. No, I'm not under arrest. Okay. You're kidnapping me.
Right.
This is an international hostage situation.
Yeah.
In August last year, she and nearly 30 others were evicted from an illegal encampment near Lennox Head in the Northern Rivers region of New South Wales.
Is the government fighting against we the people?
Among Delaney's claims was that as a sovereign citizen, she shared native title of the land there.
She claims she's Indigenous. She claims my 2 children are Indigenous. They're not.
When Scott and Helen Delaney split up in 2019, he had no idea the quiet community he'd moved to near Nowra on the New South Wales south coast would one day be firmly on the sovereign citizen map.
You know, talking to the police, there's quite a few of them down here living in amongst our community.
When you look at these sovereign citizens and the impact on your family, do you feel like they've robbed you of something?
Yeah. Everything is a consideration now when we go out as a family, or when I come and talk to you, there's a consideration around where both of my boys are. If they're not with me, then we have to put things into place to make sure that somebody else has got eyes on them.
When they separated, his wife took their young sons to live in Sydney. From there, she took them to the squat in Lennox Head. Then Scott saw them on TV. It was the so-called Freedom Convoy to Canberra in early 2022. Scott's boys were in the thick of it.
I recognise my eldest son is standing less than 2 metres from the fire with his Sydney Swans hat on, and my youngest son is there in his Indigenous T-shirt that he used to like to wear and the thongs that I bought him. So how do you erase that image from your mind?
Unmistakably, they're your children.
100% they're my children, yeah. At a fire that caused $5 million damage. What parent thinks that's okay?
That Easter, after visiting his dad, Scott's eldest son chose not to return to the Lennox Head camp.
He didn't want to live the lifestyle, and by that I mean the sovereign citizen lifestyle. He was used to having a roof over his head, a warm bed, home-cooked meals.
Scott's youngest son would eventually return to live with him.
My youngest son was definitely indoctrinated. He was standing up in the school classroom and announcing things about Scott Morrison and yelling out things like, "My body, my rules, stay away from the jab." You know, he said, "F the police," and things like that, which to me, I'd never heard my son speak like that.
Helen Delaney refuses to recognise police authority, but she has no problem using them when it suits her. They had to investigate false claims her ex-husband Scott had kidnapped their eldest son. She took the law into her own hands. She tried to break into Scott's home and was arrested.
Delaney was jailed for 4 months, convicted on 12 charges, including stalking and intimidation, and repeatedly breaching restraining orders taken out by Scott.
At what point did you feel like these people weren't just keyboard warriors, that they posed a very real threat to your family?
When they were stalking my children, so parking nearby, approaching my youngest son, claiming that, you know, they were representing his mum and that she was coming to get him.
What were they threatening to do to you if you didn't return the children?
Oh, for myself, I was threatened with life imprisonment with hard labour. But within that, there was separate arrest warrants for the children, and they stated that their law enforcement officers or their sheriffs that they referred to could come and forcibly remove my children. It was at that stage that I decided to go to war with these people.
And when you received threats like that, were you fearful for your own life?
No, not fearful for my own life, but prepared to do whatever was necessary to protect my children. I'm not going to say on camera what that means, but I'm sure you understand when I'm looking in their eye and say I'm prepared to do whatever it takes, that's exactly that. There's only one winner in that situation. If they come into my property and they try and get my children, bad things are going to happen.
Look around Scott's house and it's clear. Being targeted by sovereign citizens has had a profound impact on his life.
Are you living in fear?
No, I live in readiness.
Now Helen Delaney is using the New South Wales legal system and the law she claims not to recognise filing pseudo-legal complaints against anyone she believes has wronged her. We caught up with her at one of her many appearances at the New South Wales Supreme Court.
Helen, would you like to say a few words about this case and whether you feel like you got a fair hearing?
She and her supporters stopped for coffee while we waited outside to ask questions. Then the woman who rejects all police authority calls them for help. They tell us to keep our distance.
This would be the first time that I've ever had the police call for requesting an interview with someone leaving court, so it is quite a surprise.
Finally, they reappear, and Helen and her little band of supporters were given a police escort.
This is someone who's been in the public eye, who's
yeah, no, that's fine.
been in many
That's fine. Just explaining. We're just here to keep the peace. Just so I know what media. Where are you guys from?
We're from Channel 7.
Channel 7. Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Have a nice day. Hey, that was not expecting that as an outcome today. I mean, this is the same woman that has been in multiple altercations who has actually been fined for harassing police officers and then calls them for help. It's bizarre. It's frankly bizarre.
Coming up, the unlikely recruits to the movement.
I never thought that I would ever see the inside of a prison.
From suburban couple to prison inmates.
We were just everyday people that dared to ask questions.
Jerry and Emma Martin.
Welcome, Jerry. Come on up.
Never imagined.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
They'd one day become part of the Sovereign People's Assembly.
I found a community after multiple legal practitioners had failed me and Emma. I found a community that would just help me define the history and look through history and make me question my reality.
Immersion Flotation Day Spa.
In 2015, the hard-working couple fulfilled a lifelong dream, opening their own business, an upmarket spa in southeastern Perth.
We've got your beauty, we've got your waxing, facials, hair, and we've got the lot. Yeah, it was amazing to open those doors, and we'd have people lined up. The first Christmas, we had people lined up out the door for gift vouchers. And
we just did it and we put everything into it. I never felt worried or concerned. I just felt like everything just would fall into place for us.
For Emma and Jerry, all their hard work, it seemed, was paying off.
It's happened. The first person in WA to have coronavirus.
But in 2020, just as they recovered from the first round of pandemic lockdowns, they suffered a cruel blow. The state's Metronet rail project began major construction right outside their door and crippled the business.
they were only supposed to take my driveway for 2 weeks, and I lost it for 6 months.
Metronet roadworks have made the new entry hard to find, put a footpath where the driveway was, forcing Jerry and Emma to cut 11 staff to 6 and reducing customers by 30%.
You just feel like you're drowning. You don't want to be those people that are whinging, but it's our staff's livelihood as well. So we want to make sure that if we're going to go down, we're going to go down fighting.
What did they offer you?
A fraction short of what was needed or fair.
Jerry Martin is refusing to roll over.
They were unhappy with the compensation offered by the state, so they sued the government and the Metronet project.
We had legal advice, which was then to the only way that we will get a meaningful compensation for the business was to take it to the Supreme Court. it just chewed up more money. It chewed up more money, more time, and 10 months in the Supreme Court with there wasn't even a hearing.
No hearings, nothing.
No hearings, nothing.
Bewildered by a legal system that seemed to have spat them out, they turned to the Sovereign People's Assembly of WA for support.
We were looking for ways to self-represent ourselves, to give ourselves a fighting chance.
Good morning, everyone.
In front of a SPAWA court, they presented a case against the lawyer who'd represented them in the Supreme Court. Perhaps not surprisingly, SPAWA found in their favour.
What was it like to see SPAWA in action with these court hearings? What was that process like for you?
I cried. I cried during the common law court hearing that we had, because it was like the first time that our evidence after many years was being heard, because it was blocked in the Supreme Court.
Their case now stands closed.
Then their lawyer sued them for defamation over public statements they made about her. The judge found them liable and they were fined $90,000. When Emma and Jerry refused to pay the fine, they were charged with contempt of court.
The decisions were made well before. Allegedly, the decisions are made before the court case even started. So if there's nothing on the record, there's nothing to rebut.
The couple refused to recognise the Supreme Court's authority, saying we will not continue to engage in the beliefs that the court has any valid standing. Emma and Jerry Martin were sentenced to 30 days in prison.
Yeah, but I never thought that would be anything that I would ever see the inside of a prison. It's surreal, thinking about it now. We'll hold that trauma for a long time. It's scary. Never did I think I've never been in handcuffs. I've never been arrested. I've never been in a fight in my life. It's just not who I am. So to think that my family had to see that. But there was nothing I could do. I wasn't going to purge my truth or take back anything that I had written.
For Emma and Jerry, what started as a business dispute, then a legal battle, became in the end a complete rejection of the system.
After going to jail, we were self-proclaimed sovereign citizens because we dared to ask questions and represent ourselves when we were financially broken. So, we were just everyday people that dared to ask questions.
Up next,
Good afternoon, Canberra.
the former Special Forces colonel trying to raise an army.
We could pick up those rifles, go to Parliament House and blow their heads off.
Calling for war.
We want men that will kill.
Tonight, you've met sovereign citizens across the country. They reject that title and almost always the mainstream media too.
All right, let's go, guys.
Those who spoke to us tried to explain an ideology that sounds outlandish to some, potentially dangerous to others.
Make no mistake, this is a movement that's not going away. Whatever the fringe ideology is, you're guaranteed to find someone like-minded on the internet. And that brings us to the Australia One Party. It's run by a former Australian Special Forces colonel. His name is Ricardo Bossi. To say his views are fanatical would be an understatement. He attacks the police.
Commissioner of Federal Police, you Masonic piece of slime. Put down your badge, put down your gun. Let's go 15 rounds. It won't last 15 rounds, though.
Media.
They are criminally complicit in a conspiracy to the genocide of every Australian. We should have shot you earlier.
We're not recruiting for a seminary. We want men that will kill.
And politicians.
we could pick out those rifles, go to Parliament House and blow their heads off. That's why it's there.
Mr. Bozzi is gaining traction in the US.
That's the Commander-in-Chief of Australia.
His hate-filled rants draw in crowds of everyday Australians right around the country. In the Perth home of a SPAWA member
Yes, I have my personal value.
whose guns were seized by police, intriguingly, there's evidence of support for the Australia One party.
Back it up, thank you.
Perhaps that illustrates the reach of Ricardo Bossi into a movement where politics, anger and conspiracy theories collide. A movement that's closed ranks, turned its back on society and declared war on the law.
That's all we have time for this evening. For more on tonight's topic, you can listen to the inside story of Desi Freeman in a new 7 News podcast. Desi Freeman was Australia's most wanted man.
2 police officers are dead after they were ambushed and shot.
And nobody covered the case more closely than 7 News crime editor Cassie Zervos.
There were messages coming through on Signal, DF found, DF dead.
Join me for 6 action-packed episodes, from the final 24 hours of Desi Freeman's life to inside the secret operation to track him down. All told by the journalist who was there for every major moment.
Bring all the weapons you've got. They're here. They're about to take me out.
Desi Freeman, The Hunt. Available now on 7plus, Listener, or wherever you get your podcasts. I hope you can join us next week for another edition of Spotlight. I'm Michael Usher. Thank you for your company. Good night.